Many blessings to all of you. I hope that you guys are doing really well. I've missed you guys. I think the last video that I did was on the ayahuasca, and I hope that you enjoyed that very informative video. Yes. And so today I want to talk a little bit about uh, some of the star seeds, in particular, three that are really in the forefront in the new ascension, in the new paradigm. And of course, we're talking about the indigo children who have been around for some time now, and the crystal children and the rainbow children. And so, before we delve a little bit into these three pillars, right, I just want to share that it's really important that if you resonate with some of the traits of a indigo child, and I'm going to put it in parentheses because right now we have in the forefront, as I said, these three pillars, which are sort of the same streamline and yet different, right? And it's really important that although we should learn which what each trait represents, um, we really need to follow our soul, our heart, and not so much to, you know, become obsessed with trying to identify, per se, the title of what we are, who we are, but more so to have a resonance with it, with the attributes that accompany these three traits, to familiarize yourself and to have harmony with it so that you can be optimal then in fulfilling that role as a starseed, right? So, keeping that in mind, right, we are going to start with the indigos, which we know have been around for some time now. As a matter of fact, some of the indigos that first entered into the earth realm in this timeline, um, I would say, are probably in the late 40s or maybe even early 50s. And so that would place them that they entered into the timeline, this timeline around the 1960s. And at the time, everybody was talking about the indigos. They're very important, of course, they still are. Uh, Attributes, very important, you know, um, empath, very empathic. Uh, a great compassion, you know, um, for humanity and for nature, actually, and the balancing, trying to balance between being a servant of nature and animals, the animal kingdom, and humanity in its up and downs, right? Um, so the indigos were and continue to be very empathic. They have a rebellion side, and one of the reasons why they have that rebellious nature about them is because they came and are still here to bring about change, reform, you know, and so that change comes about by being unique and different. And those changes show in the personalities of many indigos. Um, they tend to be very stubborn in their cause, may not do very well in school um, because they have a difficulty conforming, right? So they're sort of out of the box, very innovative, and they're the front runners to bring innovation, a change, a difference, a shift, right? So uh, I'm saying more about the past, could have displayed, issues at school, trying to fit in, perhaps a little bit of what we can call ADD, attention span, just becoming bored with the ABCs of life and really looking to be very innovative in, as I said, bringing change, right? So the next pillar of Starseeds is the Crystal Children. And the Crystal Children came about, I'm going to say, somewhere around the 1980s to the 2000s, right? And these children, which are now young adults, right? And some of them are still coming in as infants, um, are very highly intuitive. Okay, they tend to have multiple senses. So I mean, they're clairvoyant, clairsentient. They have empathic energies. They have great insight, and so they're not here so much to be the sponges that the indigos are to some degree, right? Because they're so empathic. But more so, the crystal children are here because they're powerhouses. They're powerhouses, and they're sort of like receptors that are coming into the new world, in prelude to the new paradigm, to really put those bolts uh, of new high vibrational energy into the new earth. And because of that, they carry a high sensory of intuition. Ironically, that may make them a little fragile at times. So if you identify yourself with this, and when I say fragile, I'm not referring to the fact that they are not powerful, because they truly are, but they can be vulnerable to lower vibrational energies. It's like the Lennox glass, where, if you buy inexpensive glass, it can serve its purpose, but the glass itself can be thick, right, and can actually fall on the floor and be okay. And yet the Lennox glass has this fine um, composite to it, and it's powerful, it's beautiful, it's graceful, and yet it can be very fragile and can break, right? And so we compare that a little bit to the crystal children, in that they do have a sensitivity to lower vibrational energy. We can identify them as such, that they tend to be loners, they tend to um, isolate themselves, a little bit, have very few friends, close friends, but few friends. They're not the social bug, whereas the indigo children can be, because they're those advocates, right? The crystal children can tend to be a little shy um, in the external world, right? But internally, psychically, spiritually, energetically, um, they're powerhouses, right? And so they do well then when they're connected to nature, um, to water and air in particular, right? Um, and again, if they happen to be in a lower dense environment, then you may notice that they may experience some fatigue, um, and just not feeling in their element, right? Not feeling like they're in their element. And then, last but not least, and I'm sure there's many more to come, but for today, we're going to speak about these star seeds. Then you have the rainbow children, and the rainbow children are the new generation. These are the children, or the star seeds, that have come in recently, between the early to mid 2000s, right? And are the young generation. They're probably still in their teens, and many of them in their pre-K, kindergarten, 7 or 8 sort of age, right? And these children are very highly advanced. They have stepped into the new paradigm world with an incredible ability and very versed in technology. You know, they tend to have a great intelligence. Many of them could definitely go through school and college at a very young age if they are harnessed to do that, um, and have just a very acute level of awareness, right? And and as such, they're more concentrated on their vocation or on a calling, even if they're at a young age, uh, to become a scientist, to become an astronaut, right? To delve into computer science and the NASA and things of that nature, right? So again, they have a very high intelligence for technology. And why not? Because they are actually preparing the ground floor for the future, right? For the future and the future of the new paradigm. Yes. Um, and so while they do have intuition, by the way, all of these star seeds do, they tend to show that intuition in a different way, or focus that intuition in a certain way um, that is optimal to what their calling and mission work is here, right? And so I'm just going to take a quick look because I made some notes. And so when we think of the differences between the indigo children, the crystal, and the rainbow children, is that we can look at the indigo children as those go-getters who are going to that did and continue to set the stage for the shift, right? For the shift from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. And so, as such, they're going to be great advocates, right? They're going to have a calling, and that calling is going to be important to them in a way that's going to be significant for the mass consciousness, right? When we look at the crystal child, in addition to what I've already added, when we think of how they're evolving in the new paradigm, is that they're the pioneers, right? The crystal children are the ones who are going to break ground in the new paradigm, right? They're going to be the innovators, the thinkers, the ones with the bright new ideas um, that's going to flourish and carry or usher in to a higher degree the new paradigm field. And then we have the rainbow children, and when we think of them in the timeline, just as the crystal children break ground, then the rainbow children are going to be the ones who bring life, right? Who bring life and harmony, life and a new existence into the fertile new paradigm, right? And so they are the future, and not only because they're the latest generation of starseeds, but because they truly do hold the future, the oneness, the unity, the harmony, the giving birth to the new ground, you know, as the paradigm continues to flourish and to be anchored. So each one of them plays a vital role, um, not to necessarily be confused, because they do each carry an individual role. But as I said, in the higher scheme of things, we shouldn't get lost, obsessed in trying to figure out, like, what am I? Am I an indigo? Am I? And these days, because there are a variety of star seeds, it can become very confusing and sometimes even disheartening for those who are trying to learn to figure out who they are, right? And so if you happen to identify one of the or two of the traits that I have mentioned today, um, then allow yourself to step into that acceptance that perhaps you are an innovator, that you are a pioneer, that you are a star seed of the future, right? Um, and to really allow yourself to then anchor, right, the knowingness that's already always inheritedly in you, in your heart center, right? The star seeds come here with a mission, and so most of the time they have a memory of why they came. And if they do not, then I can assure you that they will find, if they have not found already from the Indigo children, a teacher, that a guide that is going to mentor them and trigger them and support them as they flourish into the star seeds that they are. They're powerhouses. All three star seeds, which I mentioned today, and many more, I'm sure, will continue to appear in our timeline as the paradigm continues to grow, right? And so I hope that you've learned a little bit about these three powerful star seeds. I'm sure that there's many more questions, so please, if this was something of interest to you, if you have a comment or a question, please take a moment to share that in the comments. Of course, you know already that we would love it. I would love it if you would like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, please. It does help us to show more, a greater viewing in the channel in YouTube. So please, if you like the video, please take a moment to like it. And I just want to remind the viewers who are in Florida that I will be hosting our first Holistic Expo here in Spring Hill, Florida. That will be on September 24th. If you are interested and in the vicinity and would like to come and pay us a visit, we would love to see you. I will put the details in the comments. And also I wanted to share that I have been already promoting an in-person apprenticeship that I will be offering October 20th through the 23rd. I have some beautiful students coming in from all over the country thus far. You do not have to be a student in order to attend the apprenticeship. I call them students because some of them have been with me for some time. But I'm very excited and very happy that there have been a few who have shown a great interest and a calling to be part of the apprenticeship. And so I will add those details in the comments as well. If you are called and inspired, remember that you do not have to be in Florida to come and attend this 3-day intensive in Florida with me. Yes? And so again, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And don't forget that I love you. I send you all my love, all my light, and all my peace. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you share some of your comments. And until we speak again, don't forget that I love you very much. Love you. Take care, you guys.